Welcome to Mecum Presents On the Move, brought to you by State Farm. It's the show geared toward keeping you up to speed with the latest auto news, event coverage, and expert industry insight. Now, here are your hosts, Matt Avery and John Kraman.
Hey, and welcome to another On the Move. I'm Matt Avery, and joining me is co-host John Kraman, lead TV commentator for Mecum Auctions on NBCSN. Hey, John, you know, this fall, Mecum Auctions is making our debut into the Tennessee market with a big event scheduled for Chattanooga, Tennessee, October 15th through the 16th. And we are actually part of a multi-day automotive celebration that is also taking place in the form of the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival. And today in segment 2, we'll be talking with Ken Gross, who is the Concours chairman for that event. And then in segment 3, we're going to be having a special conversation with Drake Stapleton. And Drake is the research and development chemist for Gold Eagle. And what we'll be talking with him is about the very latest technology when it comes to car care products, including the just released Graphene nano spray coating. Now, John, we are gearing up for a very busy fall, and Mecum is taking over October.
Yep, and that's exactly what it's called, the October Takeover, Matt. Las Vegas, Chattanooga, Chicago, all back-to-back, 3 weeks in a row. And then, but don't forget, Kansas City in December. But before we do all that, you're heading out somewhere, a really cool place.
Yeah, I am off to Alexander City, Alabama for the Wellborn Muscle Car Museum's Mopar Reunion. And John, this is such a cool event. It's put on by our friend Tim Wellborn, and the museum is actually in an old restored car dealership in downtown Alexander City. So it's such an awesome display. And this year in particular, the reunion is celebrating the 50th anniversary of both 1970 and 1971 Mopar. So it's going to be a lot of awesome muscle cars on display, and certainly really looking forward to it. Now, while I am headed south, you, my friend, are headed east. You're going to be looking at some very special cars coming to the Mecum Kissimmee auction. What are you going to be taking a look at?
Yep, heading out to Baltimore. Going to be meeting our good friend and compadre Steve Matchett out there, and him and I are going to break down and do a lot of video promotional work for a huge collection, about 35 vehicles, a nice mix of late model exotics. There's a lot of 50s, 60s classics there as well. Just now starting to kind of put my finger on the pulse of what all of those what all that inventory is, but this is going to be one of the main attractions that will be heading out to Mecum Kissimmee, which, by the way, Matt, is already generating a lot of interest. They've got well over 1,000 entries already in the books, so I would recommend anybody listening, you want to head on down to the world's largest collector car auction. That is always Mecum Kissimmee in January, Osceola Heritage Park. Get your consignments in today.
Well, in addition to Mecum Auctions, there are some other automotive events that enthusiasts should add to their calendars. Starting with this weekend in Somerset, Kentucky, it is time once again for Summer Nights Cruise, and this one is the Corvette Showcase in VW Jamboree. Sounds like a lot of fun. And then there are 3 events in November, starting with the world-famous SEMA show in Las Vegas. Then we go to the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals in Rosemont, Illinois. That's the week before Thanksgiving, and then the week of Thanksgiving is the Daytona Turkey Rod Run in Daytona, Florida. And John, all of these events will have the Mecum Mobile Experience on site, and that is a fantastic place for guests to connect with Mecum staff and consignment agents and get all of their questions answered about buying or selling a vehicle at a Mecum auction.
Hey, and we've got an update on one of our favorite cars. 1967 Ford Mustangs continue to be popular in a variety of different build strategies. What's going on there, Matt?
Well, you said it, John. The 67 Mustang continues to remain so popular with enthusiasts, and whether you're trying to keep an original example on the roads, or if you're going about putting together an all-new radical custom, something like the Kindle Custom Resto Mod, which utilizes a 67 Mustang as its foundation, it's good to know that parts are being made available. And one of the latest ones is exclusive to our friends over at MPD, and it's the lower dash pad for the 1967 Mustang. So it's a good reminder, John, that these parts are being made available and they are out there.
Well, and I think that's an important fact, Matt. You know, Rick Schmidt and all of his folks at National Parts Depot are really responsible to keep for us to be able to keep these vehicles on the road, not only from a cosmetic standpoint, but from a mechanical standpoint as well. If it wasn't for these guys always out there working to provide parts for our beloved vintage vehicles, we would not have the same opportunity we have now. So just a very sincere, heartfelt thank you for Rick and all the folks at MPD for continuing to develop great new parts.
Well said. And John, let's talk about some car news, because performance is a major theme this week, starting with the announcement that Subaru for 2022 is going to have an all-new 5th generation WRX. It's going to be powered by a 2.4-liter turbocharged boxer engine, producing 271 horsepower. And John, I think here's the thing that you and I are most excited about. Transmission options include a new automatic, but what we care most is that you can get it with a 6-speed manual.
Yeah, and here's what's happening, Matt. I was so happy and glad to see that. And not only are they keeping the 6-speed manual still alive, but it's also being done on that really cool sedan platform. As sedans continue to kind of go by the wayside, got to hand it to Subaru for this cult vehicle that has been so popular over the years. And my guess is this car not only is going to look great, but it is going to stay in that tradition of being an incredible performer as well.
Well, speaking of performance, Chevrolet is giving the 2022 Silverado some off-road chops in the form of a all-new ZR2 package. Now, the ZR2 has been on the Colorado for a number of years. This is the first time it's being used on the Silverado, and I think, John, you and I both are in agreement when we say it's about time.
We've talked about it, Matt. We've mentioned it in the same topics of conversations we've had with, of course, the Ram TRX and the Ford Raptor. And it still might be a notch or two down from those storied models. It definitely is an upgrade from the current Silverado Trail Boss. It is powered by a very potent 420 horsepower, 6.2-liter V8, and also has suspension upgrades as well. And it's really part of a refresh, of a reset of the Silverado body style. I, of course, I like the way the truck looks. I think it's got an appearance comparable with its competition, but I think when it comes down to the real serious ultra high performance heavy duty off-road chops, I think it's going to be a little bit lacking.
Mecum Auctions is proud to bring you On the Move with Matt Avery and John Kraman. For more on the world of collector cars, head over to mecum.com. Now let's get back to the show.
Mecum's debut into Tennessee will take place in Chattanooga October 15th through the 16th, with the auction being part of a multi-day car celebration known as the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival. The event was started in 2019 with the primary goal of raising funds to benefit neuroscience research, and all of the days lead up to a Sunday Concours. And joining me now is Ken Gross, director for that event. And Ken, I want to hear from you kind of the inside story. How did this event get started, and how has it grown to where we are today?
Well, Byron DeFore and his brother Ken are major players in Chattanooga, and they have an organization, a charitable organization called 50 Plus Racing, and the money that they raise is for, as you just mentioned, neuroscience research. Chattanooga is in an area of the South called the stroke belt, if you can imagine. There's a high incidence of people with stroke, and so the Neuroscience Institute is studying ways to prevent stroke and ways to deal with stroke when it happens. This was Brian Johnson of the band AC/DC and Byron DeFore were racers together, and when one of the band members succumbed, these two guys decided that establishing a special event for charity would be a wonderful thing to do, and the Neuroscience Innovation Foundation in Chattanooga is way ahead of the curve with literally with innovative research for ALS, stroke, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's. So every bit of the proceeds for this wonderful event goes for neuroscience research.
So the event kicks off in 2019. You guys come out strong for that inaugural year. There's a lot of momentum behind it. And then like the rest of the world, you guys took 2020 off, but you're back at it for this year. And the thing that's important to know is that there's multiple days of activities and things to do that lead up to the Sunday Concours. And Ken, one of the first events that jumped out at me is you guys have a road rally. What's that all about?
Well, the road rally is an opportunity. It's actually 2 days. And the Coker Tire people and some of the great race people are involved to enjoy driving interesting cars in the beautiful Tennessee countryside. It's not an intense time speed distance rally, so you can enjoy really enjoy the drive, enjoy the company of other people. And this is 2 days, and you can participate on one or both days with your sports car or classic car.
So it sounds like that's a great opportunity for enthusiasts with all kinds of automotive tastes to bring out their vehicle and take in some beautiful scenery while engaging in one of the best aspects of vehicle ownership, which is driving. Now, Ken, something else that takes place during these days is a charity cruise-in. Where is that held?
Well, the charity cruise-in, again, the Coker Tire folk are behind this, and we do this in an area near downtown Chattanooga, in what's called the West Village, and we have a large area set aside for people to bring their cars. We'll loosely organize them into classes, but the main idea is to park and look, show and shine, as they say, enjoy the company of people who are car enthusiasts, and we're all here for the same reason.
Well, with that theme on charity, Friday night, there is a very special event that takes place at a historic theater. And this year, you guys have a very special guest and a very special car on site, both immensely tied to pop culture. Fill us in. What's taking place Friday night?
Well, the Tivoli Theater is an old, early 1920s theater that's been totally restored in downtown Chattanooga. And we'll have Dr. Devlin from the Neuroscience Innovation Foundation, a world-renowned scientist and a wonderfully articulate man. And he will be on stage with Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox is kind of the poster child, if you will, for Parkinson's disease and being able to live a somewhat normal life and have a great recovery. And Michael J. Fox is remembered best for Back to the Future, and we will have a DeLorean that we're going to auction off, and the proceeds will go to neuroscience research. As well, Keith Martin from Sports Car Market will be there. Keith has also has recovered from a stroke, and so this is a subject that's near and dear to him. It'll be a very exciting evening in a beautiful setting.
Now, for enthusiasts that want to take things in at a little bit faster pace, you guys have some racing opportunities available set up in the West Village. Is that Gymkhana or is that an autocross?
No, this is a real track. The first year we had a point-to-point track that ran that the city fathers and mothers allowed us to set up along the river. This year, they've allowed us to build a real 2.1-mile circuit. We have Chris Vandegrift, who's been at the Monterey Historics for years, Jim Gouldsby from HSR, Historic Racing. We're encouraging people with race cars to come out and compete wheel to wheel, and I think it'll be very exciting. It's right in downtown Chattanooga.
Well, and something else that takes place in downtown is the Sunday Concours. And Ken, your team has been hard at work securing all kinds of very historically significant and unique vehicles. And one of the special groups are 4 vehicles coming from the General Motors Heritage Collection. Fill us in. What are they and what makes them so significant?
Well, in the 1950s, before the rise of really big auto shows, General Motors had what they called the Motoramas. And these were giant shows, almost equivalent to a big Broadway production, but with automobiles that toured the country. I got to see them in the 50s at the Commonwealth Armory in Boston. But in the exuberant post-war era, people thought that automobiles would be very related to jet planes, and General Motors built 3 Firebirds, all turbine powered. They all look like aircraft without wings. We will have 2 of the Firebirds on display. we'll have the Cadillac Cyclone, which looks like an homage to fins, because there are fins that come out of it in every direction. And we'll have the Cadillac Le Mans, which was a special roadster they only built 3 of, and then decided maybe it'd be a little tough to be competing with the Corvette. So that ended that exercise. So these are 4 very rare concept cars that will be on display.
Something else on display will be some vehicles from the Corvette Museum. Ken, can you fill us in? What all will they have on site?
Well, they're right now it's a secret. I'm talking to their director, and he says, we'll bring a couple of cars. We'll surprise you. They did a wonderful job in 2019 with some of their cars, and we also had Corvette Grand Sports on display. But I know we can depend on them for a neat exhibit. And at the same time, from Nashville, we'll have 8 unusual cars from the Lane Motor Museum. For those of your listeners who know about the Lane, they have mini cars, micro cars, flying cars, some of the most unusual cars in the world, and we'll have 8 of those.
Something else that guests and attendees won't want to miss is the Gathering of the Greats, which is a special display spotlighting some of the top and ultra rare Ferrari models. Can you share with us what vehicles will be included in that display?
Well, I can. We're going to have from the Rebs Institute, the Collier Museum in Naples. They're bringing a Ferrari 166, which is one of the first Ferrari race cars, one of the lowest number surviving Ferraris. We will have such things as a 342 America. Dennis Garrity is bringing this absolutely beautiful Vignale convertible. Bill Marriott and his restorer David Cart are bringing a 500 TRC Ferrari. So these are really top of the tree, if you will, rare racing Ferraris that will be on display, and I think people will enjoy that and getting a chance to meet the owners and see these cars. They'll be right next to the Westin Hotel in a very special area that was designed from the outset with these grass pads to accommodate wonderful cars. It's the first time we're using it this way, and I think it'll be very exciting.
Now, when people hear Concours and they think of a Concours event, typically what's associated with that is a very high level of judging. How does your team go about evaluating the vehicles that are going to be on site?
Well, we take them seriously. We use ICJAG, which is the kind of the top level of judging. It's what's done at Pebble Beach and many shows. That ICJAG stands for International Chief Judge Advisory Group, and they've set a set of standards up so they're consistent worldwide, and they can accommodate everything from a Delage and a Duesenberg to you name it. And our judges are all very experienced folk who have judged at major events around the country and even around the world.
Let's turn our attention to what I'll call the Chattanooga Experience. For people that haven't been there before, what's the town like?
Well, you've got a contemporary, interesting city. To steal a phrase, a river runs through it, and Chattanooga has, for the last few years, the city has found ways to attract things like the Ironman. There's a fabulous aquarium there. There's a climbing museum. It's a city that families will enjoy visiting, and we're right in the middle of it with the Motor Car Festival. There'll be music, of course, and there'll be a number of celebrity guests. We'll have former racing champion Brian Redmond, Wayne Carini, the host of Chasing Classic Cars, Alenda Cadney, who's driven Formula One in Europe, Linda Vaughn, Miss First Swifter Shifter, Ray Evernham, probably the most celebrated crew chief in NASCAR, and that's just the beginning. David Hobbs will be there, who's the famous Motor Mouth and a voice on CBS television. So there'll be a lot of folk there that attendants will know, they'll have seen, but maybe never met in person, and here's an opportunity to do that.
For listeners that want to get more details about the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival, where can they head online?
The easiest way to do it would be www.chattanoogamotorcar.com or info at ChattanoogaMotorcar.com.
Well, it sounds like this is shaping up to be an awesome event, and all of it's for such a great cause. Hey, Ken, I really appreciate your time, and I am looking forward to being there this fall. Thanks, man.
Thank you very much. Come on down.
Don't adjust that dial. On the Move, we'll be right back. Our program is proudly presented by Mecum Auctions, the world's largest collector car auctions. Now back to Matt and John.
Hey, John, you and I are pretty avid enthusiasts when it comes to keeping our car clean and looking its best. And one of the latest products to hit store shelves is 303's Graphene Nano Spray Coating. It's a brand new product, a lot of excitement behind, a lot of technology. And today we are on site at Gold Eagle's Chicago headquarters to get the answers. And we have just the guy to talk to, Drake Stapleton. He is the research and development chemist for the company. Drake, we really appreciate your time today, and we want to start things off with the simple question of what in the world is graphene?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Graphene is a brand new technology in the auto care business. It is a single atomic layer of carbon that is by and large the strongest material known to mankind by weight. And that gives amazing protection to automobiles. That's what we have put it into.
How long did it take to develop the product?
It took us about 4 to 5 months
Okay.
to develop the product, and it's to get it out and tested in about another 3 or 4 months.
So at what stage is a detailer or a vehicle owner applying this? Is this one of the final top coats?
Yeah, that's correct. So it's after you've already washed and buffed and compounded your car, got it pretty, and this is the one that seals the paint at the very last step.
Let's talk about the surface prep. Some people call it paint correction. You mentioned wash the car, polish the car. What exactly needs to be done at what phase of a car's paint condition is this product best used for?
The very last step. So you have really any kind of car enthusiast. So you have the real hardcore, like they wash and they compound and they polish and they finish polish. And then you can lay down the graphene coating, or for the everyday user. So you just wash your car and you want to put on the coating, that is fine too. You don't have to have any kind of particular surface prep as long as it's clean.
So take us right to the very, very first step. And the car's clean. It's ready for the product application. Mm-hmm. How do you do it?
So you put 2 or 3 sprays onto on a microfiber applicator, and then you will apply it to the paint in a cross-hatch pattern. You'll let it haze. It takes probably, depending on the temperature, 2 to 5 minutes. It'll haze up, and then you'll buff off to a clear, shiny finish.
And then how large of an area do you recommend putting the application onto and then waiting for it to haze up before you wipe it off?
Yeah, everyone's going to have a different preference. I prefer doing probably a hood size at a time.
Okay.
It all depends on how fast you can go. So if I haven't had any issues where I went back and I couldn't buff it off. But if it is dry, like if you leave it overnight or something, you could run into some issues.
Let's talk about the way that it looks when it's done. You've applied it. You've got it buffed off. How is it going to look, and how is it going to feel compared to conventional, say, paste wax?
Yeah, it's going to be the depth of the gloss is going to be amazing because of the way the graphene reflects the light. It enhances everything that's underneath it. So the color is going to be more vivid. It's going to be amazingly slick, and it all depends on how slick the surface is, on how you prepped that surface. So you can think of it laying a sheet on a bed of rocks, and it's not going to be very smooth. But if you sand down that bed of rocks and you lay the sheet down, it's going to be extremely smooth. So it enhances whatever's underneath it.
What about water beading?
Oh, it's going to be amazing. So the water beading is going to be extremely tight beads. It is going to be it's extremely tight beads, and it's going to last up to 12 months.
What about beyond the paint surface? Can this product be used on other exterior elements like glass and plastic?
Yeah, you sure can. And it's going to give you the same amazing water beading.
How often do you recommend the application? In other words, I think what we all want to know is how long does it last?
It lasts up to 12 months.
Wow.
It all depends, of course, how you take care of it. So if you run it through the car wash every day, it's not going to last all 12 months. But on a typical user, it's up to a year.
Are there any special care or any special products to keep your car looking as good as it possibly can, to try to preserve the graphene as long as possible.
Yeah, of course. We offer several of the products here at Gold Eagle.
So from your perspective, Drake, there's a lot of science behind this product. Is this the leading edge of technology in terms of where we stand with car care?
Oh, definitely. There's really nothing like this on the shelf. This is not something that we took a product and we made it like a minor tweak and then released it as a brand new product. No, this is a completely new technology formulation that no one has ever seen before. So in the stages of development on car care, you kind of had the ceramics, and they were the revolutionary thing. And now the next one is beyond ceramic. It would be the graphene coatings. And so this is really the state-of-the-art cutting edge.
So that's going to beg the question, what's the difference between ceramic and graphene?
Yeah, so ceramic is an SiO2 layer. So it's kind of like sand, silica. But graphene is pure carbon. It's stronger, it lasts longer, and it gives you that depth of gloss unlike anything else.
Well, I know from our own experience, Matt, in using a wide variety of 303 products, that these guys get everything right off the bat. I don't know about you, but I am really looking forward to, on my new C8 Corvette, I'm really looking forward to using this product and giving it a try, and we'll report on that on one of the podcasts.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Drake, and thanks for the info.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, man.
You've been listening to Mecum Presents On the Move, brought to you by State Farm. For more information, visit Mecum.com. And join us again next time as we take you inside the world of muscle and collector cars and more.